We're living in very interesting times right now. There are people protesting, there are people rioting seemingly every day. Portland, there's been about 90 straight days, or maybe even longer, of violent protests. I really am concerned for a lot of people, and I hope that you all out there are being safe. I understand and I try my best to be impartial when it comes to politics on right side or left side or somewhere in the middle, because ultimately at the end of the day, guns, in my opinion, should not be politicized. I think guns are good, or guns are inherently neutral. It's all about who uses them and how you use them. I think it's very unfortunate that the Republicans and Democrats are stuck fighting over this. I really wish Democrats would just give up on that. Now, I know that some of the liberal gun owners out there are going to say to me, yeah, well, Reagan banned full autos and Trump got rid of bump stocks. And I get that. But at the end of the day, Democrats are the ones that are constantly pushing for more laws. And if you look at California, they're still the ones that are pushing these anti-gun legislation and anti-gun laws for the last decades. And even though I attempt to do my best at staying impartial, I recognize and I understand that most of my audience is much more right-leaning, and I'm not going to make a statement on whether that's good or bad because ultimately it doesn't matter. It just is the way it is. There are a large portion of you that watch these videos that are more right-leaning, and it seems like right now, people that do identify with more conservative policies, people that would want to vote for Trump, people that aren't the extreme socialist Antifa members of society are being targeted right now. I think in the last week, we've seen several people in the last few days attacked simply because they were more right-leaning. These situations are something that I think could generally be avoided, and my general advice for all of this is if you can avoid being in the cities, please do so. I understand that many of you do live in the cities, and that's unfortunate. You definitely shouldn't be letting your guard down around now. In the past 24 hours, I have seen 3 specific instances of people being attacked by either people that align with Antifa or say they are 100% Antifa, like the man who shot a Trump supporter just because he was a Trump supporter driving through a rally. I'm not going to say that they shouldn't have been there. I just think that if they weren't there, you can avoid situations like that. You need to understand, and I think you need to kind of look critically at, is it worth it to go counter-protest? I think people get very hyped up with and get very excited at the idea of defending property of people they don't know and going to these counter-protests. And if that's something you truly believe in, do it. Be peaceful, exercise your First, exercise your Second Amendment rights. But I think people need to kind of take a look at and fully evaluate the entire situation. I think many people are simply not thinking about the fact that if you go to these kinds of things, it's putting you in harm's way. There are real consequences for it. It doesn't matter if you got the most Gucci kit, it doesn't matter if you got level 4 plates on. All it takes is one idiot to come up from behind you with a brick, knock you over the head, and now you're dead. All it takes is one idiot with a gun to shoot you and get lucky, and now you're dead. We've seen several instances exactly like that in the past few days, and I think people need to take the time to kind of consider what they need to do for themselves and for their families. I'm not going to say don't protest. I'm simply going to say make sure you're doing what's right for you. If you can look at the situation of the things that we got going on in big cities right now, like Portland, and if that's something that is good for you to go and interact with, I'm not going to stop you. But it seems as if right now, right-leaning people or Republicans or conservatives in general are straight up being hunted in the streets. And I'm not trying to incite violence or incite fear, but I think people really need to understand that there are big things at play here. I hope you're all being safe, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you die for your cause, is that actually going to help the cause? I think there's a lot of people out there that are saying they're willing to fight and die for what they believe in, but ultimately I think you need to look at it and say, is fighting and dying for it in this way or in that way the right way to do it? Is that the best way that I can have an impact? think about what it is you want to accomplish, think about what it is you want to change, and if going to those sorts of protests and being out in public where Antifa members are killing people in the streets, if that's what you want to be a part of, and if you want to stop that, that's on you. Make those decisions. It's kind of crazy. I didn't think that we would see a time where people would be killed simply for exercising their rights in a peaceful way. But it seems as if people are getting killed in the streets simply because they're more right-leaning. And that might be a little bit too, a little bit lacking of nuance in that take, but that's ultimately what I'm seeing. People are being killed in the streets because they're more right-leaning, and that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. So I'm hoping that you're all out there having fun, being safe, and staying dangerous. Peace.